Hello, I Nirmala Rawat welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today is the last part of chapter 19. A quick recap. Soma narrated how close was Mata to Shanta, elder sister of Sri Ram. How happy Sri Ram were when he lifted his sons for the first time. Now moving on to part 3, chapter 19, Soma continues to narrate further to Anusuya and her mother. It took me many years to understand why Mata had been called again to the forest, why she had to undergo tapasya yet again. But for all she had to endure, it was much more difficult for Sri Ram. He felt the separation far more keenly, and Mata knew this and suffered on his behalf. How she yearned to prepare the right foods for him to ensure his health and peace of mind, and to serve him, to discuss with him the decisions he had to make for the kingdom, and to comfort him when there were difficult times. After Mata recovered from the birth of the boys, Love and Kush, she began to spend much time wandering in the forest as she used to do when she was a child in Mithila. Sometimes I would accompany her with the babies. I would find her stooping down to see a creature. On occasion, she would say to me with a touch of sadness in her voice, "In the future, this species will be gone. But look how precious it is." A glow of joy would brighten her face. All manner of creatures would come to our cottage, and Mata welcomed them all, taking such delight in their various forms and colors and the sounds they emitted. Everything about them brought her joy. She loved to look into the eyes of the larger creatures, and I knew she was communing with them through unspoken means. She once told me it was through a visual exchange. She could see the pictures in their minds and send them pictures, and in this way they communicated. One day, as we were walking through the forest, I watched her stop to observe and speak to this one and that. In astonishment, I exclaimed, "Mata, you are imbuing the natural world with such love. Such love, I have never felt this intensity of love before." And then it dawned on me. This was her purpose for being here. She smiled and said, "Why does that surprise you, Soma? These animals, these trees are a manifestation of love. For no other reason have they come into being. They are a reflection of love that sustains and upholds the universe." Then she added sorrowfully, "Humanity once knew this, but all too quickly they are forgetting it. And when they block the channels of love that flow between them and the rest of the natural world," she shook her head, "it is my greatest desire to prevent this from happening. And so we must saturate the world with more love, Soma. That is our sole task." "So that is why you have been called back to the forest?" I asked. She laughed. "You know the reasons, Soma. Why must you keep deliberating over this matter?" After a few minutes of silence, she asked, "Would you prefer to be in the palace with all its comforts?" I shook my head. "I am happy to be wherever you are, Mata. I would follow you into the darkest corner of the universe if you would permit me." She smiled. "You have followed me wherever I have gone. You have been there, Soma, and it will always be that way." Soma paused in her narrative. I cannot describe what happiness flooded over me as she spoke those words. It is something I had known, but to hear it affirmed by her, I never expected to hear those words with this human ears. Soma's voice drifted off and she became quiet. A faint smile brushed across her face as the memory returned to her. After a short pause, she continued. Mata explained to me that it was not only the power exercised by Ravan over the natural world that had unsettled the earth. It was also the weapons used by both sides during the Great War. Some of the celestial weapons gifted to Ram had not been used before in the material realm, and their effects were far reaching. Had they been in the wrong hands, they could have destroyed life on earth. That is why Ram tried every means to avoid the war, until there was no other way to subdue Ravan. He had to use these weapons, but he did so with extreme caution. Vasundhara Ma is still reeling under their effects and will do so for a very long time to come. Mata told me that she could not counter the effect of these weapons, but she could soothe the pain inflicted on Vasundhara Ma with her love and hope to moderate the imbalances that could result, some of which might not manifest until well into the future. When Mata spoke like this, a distant look would come into her eyes, as if she were seeing far ahead into a time not yet imagined. It was then that I understood the gravity of the situation. Such a war does not occur without leaving a deep mark, deep imprints on humanity and the planet. It was Sri Ram's role to plant the seeds for the flourishing of a new civilization. It was Mata's work to heal the damage that had been done before and during the war. Jai Shri Ram. Mata Sita leaving Ayodhya for reasons mentioned today makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you as well? Let me know your views in comment section. Keep listening, keep watching. Do subscribe, like and share among the like-minded ones. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.